Jets and Giants fans are probably feeling a bit differently about their teams after their performances in Week 1. It's an interesting first New York football Sunday of the 2022 NFL season, so we have to break it down. And here with me to do that, SNY Jets and Giants insider Connor Hughes. Connor, how was your time watching New York football this weekend?
It was up and down, right? Obviously, you have the Jets game, which is the one that I was at personally, and you see the way that obviously went for them, which is not how you draw it up. And then you follow the Giants game from afar as they had it up on the TVs there in the press box. You can just see the jubilation. I mean, I think we've all seen now the clip of Brian Dable dancing in the locker room after that victory. I mean, it's good feels to be over there with Big Blue, and not so much obviously with Gang Green.
Yeah, definitely a tale of two teams. So let's start with the good, Connor. The Giants, they get off to a thrilling 21-20 victory, as you mentioned, over the Titans down in Nashville. Brian Dable's decision to go for two, it worked out. So do you think a move like that can spark a team that not many people had high expectations for this season?
Yes, I think, dude, honestly, I think it not only sparks the team, I think it kind of sets a precedent for what the Giants are going to look like with Brian Dable. Now, look, I don't think anybody out here has any kind of grandiose ideas of, them stumping the Eagles or the Cowboys to win the NFC East, go on some improbable Super Bowl run. I mean, this team still has its holes that needs to be rebuilt, and they're still in the infancy stages of that rebuild. But this was kind of like a let's slam the table, let's put our foot down, and let's make a statement for what a Brian Dable coach team is going to look like. I mean, it's going to be aggressive. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a team that tries to win games, not tries not to lose games. I mean, when you think about how much things have changed for this organization in the span of just a few months, I mean, the Giants were being mocked not too long ago because of Joe Judge's decision to take those knees basically by his own goal line. Now you've got a head coach calling the shots that says, no, we've got an opportunity to tie the game with a PAT. No, screw that. Put it off to the side. We're going to try to win the game. We're going to go for this one. And then even the play call that he dials up to tie the game with the little shuffle pass there to Saquon Barkley as he fights his way into the end zone. So, look, I mean, I think it was a statement victory for the Giants. Is it going to spark a playoff run? I don't know. But I think it kind of let people know that the way and some of the struggles that the Giants have had over the last couple of years, the passive-aggressive nature, maybe that they had under Shermer and then Judge, that's by the wayside now. This is a new team, and it's going to be run differently with Joe Judge on the sideline. Or Brian Dable on the sideline, I'm sorry.
Brian Dable on the sideline. New team, new era. That's what people want to see. It's what the fans want to see for sure. Now, on to the Jets. The offense didn't look good at all. The fans were out there chanting for Mike White. No shade to Mike White, but they were chanting for Mike White. So how concerned are you about this team's offense right now, especially without Zach Wilson?
I don't know if concerned is the right word, man. I think honestly it's just it's fed up, right? I mean, look, my career was Jets beat writer before you guys hired me. So I've been around this team in some capacity since 2014, and that's covered the end of the Rex Ryan era, Todd Bowles, Adam Gase, now obviously Robert Saleh, and the GMs that have come and gone too, whether it was Idzik and McCagnon and now Joe Douglas. And I just feel like this franchise has just become accepting of losing. And what I mean by that is this game ends, right? And we're at the post-game press conference with Robert Saleh, and he's talking about how he's proud that his team fought, and then we go into the locker room and Mike Carter is saying, we don't want to treat this like we just lost the Super Bowl. We're going to focus on next week, which is fine. But then you got Tyler Conklin pointing to the fact that the Jets averaged 5.7 yards a carry in the first half. And it's like, the Jets say this isn't a moral victory, and they don't want this to be a moral victory. But then you listen to how these people are talking, and it feels that way. And eventually that needs to stop, and that needs to change. And this can't be about almost winning games. This can't be about almost scoring touchdowns. You need to go score touchdowns. You need to go and win games. And similar to the Giants with the Jets, you don't have this grandiose idea of the Jets winning the division or going to the playoffs or making a Super Bowl run. But what the talk was all off season was that the Jets were going to be a much more competitive football team. They were going to be a relevant football team. These games were going to go into the fourth quarter, no matter their opponent, and you were going to be able to see ways for the Jets to win. Instead, as has been the case in 2020 and 2021 and now to begin 2022, the fourth quarter begins and the game's over. And it's over because Lamar Jackson just hit a 55-yard touchdown and the game's over. And that just can't be the case. That needs to stop. So concerned about the Jets offense? Sure. The offensive line looked bad. They allowed 11 quarterback hits. The running game was promising at times, but Mike Carter dropped a touchdown and Breece Hall fumbled. And the receivers, we talk all about the names of Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis. Well, you look at these guys and they couldn't get open, and Davis was dropping passes again, and they really only compiled stats in garbage time. So am I concerned about the Jets offense? Sure. I'm concerned with them more than the defense, but honestly, it's this mentality that it seems like they're developing where it's okay to lose games that is probably more concerning to me than anything else.
Tell you who it's not okay with, the fans, that is for sure. And
I'll show you my mentions, man. I'll let you. I can source confirm that. I'll flip my mentions around and see what they're saying in there.
I'm sure. And I've seen some of the responses to you, Connor, out there on Twitter.
Yeah.
So no grandiose ideas here. We don't want to go that far. We know it's just 1 week, Connor. Anything can happen. And the Giants, they played far from a perfect game. But in your eyes, which New York team has the best chance to make some noise and be competitive this season?
Yeah, so it's obviously going to be people are already going to laugh me off the world to say this, but when after what happened here in week 1, but if you look at the Giants roster and you look at the Jets roster, I do believe that the Jets roster is a little bit better than the Giants at this point in time, just because, and then that makes sense, because Joe Douglas has been drafting since 2020 for this team when Joe Shane obviously just started this year, and because of the salary cap problems that Dave Gettleman left them in. Obviously, the Giants weren't able to be super active in free agency or super active on the trade market. But so I think the Jets are just further along in their development, so they've got a little bit more talent on that roster. But when you look at the two schedules that these two teams play, the Jets face murderers row week after week after week after week here, the first 9-10 games heading into their bye week. The Giants, I think their schedule is a little bit easier. So while the Jets might have more talent, their schedule is so much harder than the Giants that I think if any one of these two New York teams is going to make a legitimate run or maybe make things at least legitimately interesting down the stretch, the Giants probably have a little bit better of an opportunity to do that just because of some of the talent and lack of talent, I should say, that they're going to play on their schedule. But I think if we're having any conversation down the stretch here, man, the final 3-4 weeks, or if December starts, and we're crunching numbers for either of these teams, Jets, Giants, and not just running out mock draft 5.0 with these teams, I think it's a very good thing for the state of New York football.
All right, New York football, 1 week down, 16 more to go. Connor Hughes, he's going to be covering all of it for SNY. Connor, thanks for joining me, man. Good talking to you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.